All righty. Morning, everybody. Matt Steinmetz along with Evan Giddings today. Guru has the week off. Are we allowed to say where he's at? I forget.
Well, you're the one who talked to him last.
Yeah, he's in Vegas.
Some well-deserved R&R.
Exactly.
Yeah, just on the opposite side of the border.
I am the system of this show.
Well, we'll find that out for sure this week. But what's going on, man? Good to be with you. Big weekend of sports. We're going to get into it in a minute. But you were on the East Coast this past weekend.
Yes, I was. I was down in the DMV, out there for one of my boys' weddings. Shout out to Nate Balk and his lovely wife, Rachel. And they are official. And had a chance to catch up with a lot of guys from college. You know, you don't get an opportunity, as you know, Steiny, to kind of see your old teammates. The whole pitching staff was together. Not a lot of us got on the field, but we did get on the dance floor, and that was a lot of fun to, kind of enjoy not just the D.C. area, but the company, family, love, all that good stuff. It was a really good time. I had a fun time in Washington, D.C.
Well, and we'll get into that video you sent on Instagram.
Which one?
The one of you dancing.
It was a little hazy.
The one of you guys dancing.
Shout out Sierra Nevada.
Yeah, it was it was a good time. Good time, it looked like. Speaking of good times.
It's always fun game.
Thank you. The San Francisco Giants, we came in here, when was it? Wednesday of last week. They had just gotten shellacked by the Dodgers. They haven't lost since. They won Wednesday in the finale against the Dodgers. They had a day off, and now they've swept the Rockies. The young guys are playing. And I guess the question now becomes, now what with the Giants? The young guys are playing, they're contributing, and the Giants have won 4 in a row. Now it's against the Rockies, and here come the Pirates, or they're going to Pittsburgh. But, I mean, after that series with the Dodgers, this is kind of what they had to do, at least to maintain interest of the fans.
Yeah, I felt like after the first month of the season, if they were 500, they'd be in good position. And it looks like now after the end of May, if you could string together a nice road series, a nice 6 games, you could also be in a position to be 500. So I think the Giants have been underwhelming so far, but what has been electric about them as of late has been their younger players. And it's twofold for me, Steiny. Number one, it's exciting because we're finally beginning to see a few of these players that have been promised produce at a high level. Ramos has the 6 RBI game, Matos has the 6 RBI game. Ramos is the go-ahead bomb to help them deliver a sweep yesterday in front of 35,000 people at Oracle. So that's exciting. But also, number one, they're helping you win. And the reason why they've been in this position, in my opinion, Steiny, has been because of the veterans. The reason why they were 6 games below 500 before they rattled off 4 in a row is because of the older players. It's because either the veterans were not producing at a high enough level, or they were getting banged up, they were getting injured, there was not enough consistency. So the fact that these young guys have been able to step in and help you win a series against the Rockies, but they've won 6 of their last 8, that is something that is impressive to me. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how, after an off day, they perform against the Pirates, who themselves have a few young players. You're going to see Jack Jones in Game 2. You're going to see Paul Skeens, the number 1 overall prospect in baseball, in Game 3. And then you're going to go on the road and play a decent Mets team. So right now, I think the Giants are in a pretty good position, but what everyone is hyped about has just been the newness, the freshness about them, because prior to this weekend, Steiny, they felt pretty stale.
Yeah, they did. They absolutely did. And now you look at the lineup they put out there yesterday. They got a young guy in Ramos. They got a young guy in Matos. Luciano played yesterday. The only guy they're really missing still is Patrick Bailey, who's on the injured list. But, that's one of the things that I guess we got to look out for now is when does Michael Conforto come back, and then what do the Giants do after that, after he comes back healthy? Because, the one thing I was thinking about, Evan, was when the Giants went out and signed Soler and Chapman and Snell, I remember you saying, look, this team's got to make the playoffs. There's 3 division winners, there's 3 wild cards, and they have the kind of team, and they made the moves in the offseason that would lead you to believe that they are going after one of the 3 wild card spots. The question I have for you now is, does anything change now that all the guys, the younger guys, are producing? At least right now, the Ramoses, the Matoses, where do you go from here if those young guys are starting to be a big fixture in this team? You still have playoff aspirations?
Absolutely. No. The goal hasn't changed.
Okay.
You spent $350 million this offseason. If you're Farhan Zaidi, you threw the kitchen sink at free agency. You got to make the playoffs. You got to be a wild card team. And I don't think it's honestly that much to ask. I know that people prior to the season were throwing numbers around like 90 or 92 wins, or this team can make a major leap. I don't think it has to be that drastic. But you do have to be a team in the postseason when you invest that amount of money, in my opinion, because there are now expectations. And while those free agents have not been able to help you as much, I didn't look at a lot of those guys as early season performers. I didn't look at Blake Snell as someone that's going to come in and win you his 4 first starts. Matt Chapman is a guy that starts notoriously slow. Jorge Soler is a guy that has played, I think, 2 full seasons in his last 8, so he may be banged up at some point this year, and they finally got him back. Like, those are free agents that are supposed to altogether create excitement, create winning, but you knew you were going to need some help from these younger players, and that's why I think it is exciting, Steiny, because you are going to need some sort of necessary infusion at some point. But where I'm at with the younger players is, in my opinion, why they're exciting.
Yeah.
Is because they're also winning, or they have helped you won. I mean, it's like talking about some of the young guys on the Warriors. You know, you can discuss how many 20-point games Kuminga has, or what Moses Moody's been shooting over a certain stretch. But if you're not winning those basketball games, are they really helping you? What are we really talking about? Matos and Ramos specifically, and then Luciano, have helped you win some games. It's against the Rockies, and that's why I'm still reserving judgment on those players, because I do believe that there's a lot left to prove, and there's some stuff that I'm taking note of right now. You know, they got juice, they got some excitement, but they're still learning. Right. But how can they learn while helping you win? That, to me, is what I want to see. So as much as I would love to believe that if Matos and Ramos and even Luciano, if these young guys still keep hitting, they'll be in the lineup. I can tell you what, Michael Conforto was swinging it pretty well before he got hurt. He's going to deserve at least a couple series to prove how he can come back from injury. Soler, you gave multiple years to, tens of millions of dollars to. He's going to be in the lineup.
Yep.
Like, I know that we're excited about them now, but unless they help you keep winning, we're going to be getting those vets back. It's a little reminiscent of the Warriors, I think.
Yeah, there is a similarity there. By the way, it's a Monday, so we got to go to our money chat. Our Rich Mitchman has posted $1.99 for me to say.
Can I guess?
Go ahead.
Get rid of Kuminga.
Get rid of Kuminga. He says exactly.
So I'm asking the great Rich Mitchell.
Get rid of Kuminga. Okay. If you want to pay for a super chat, you can. But so what's going to happen when Conforto comes back?
He's going to be right back in the lineup.
For whom?
You're going to have to choose. Now, I think that there's a discussion between who gets to stay and who gets to go. It's Ramos or Matos.
Right.
But that's the choice that the Giants are going to have to make. I think there might be room to keep potentially both of them if you don't want as many infielders on the roster. But one of those guys isn't going to be playing as much as they have been. And so that's where I think some Giants fans might be a little disappointed, because you're seeing these guys swing it. Matos has had some journeys in the outfield, but he's exciting. He's different. I think Ramos is a player that, to me, is maybe a little more pro-ready. He's a little more plug and play, and he'd be a little bit more like the Moses Moody of the San Francisco Giants, Mr. Stay Ready. But at the end of the day, if the Giants play these young players and they don't win games on this road trip, if they revert back to what they've done so far, which, like, they have been able to win at home. To be fair, the Giants haven't been that exciting yet, but they've won home games. Where they've really struggled has been away from Oracle Park.
Yeah.
So if they go on this 6-game road trip and they lay another egg, then I don't really think it matters to me what these young guys have been doing. Because at the end of the day, I'm still looking at this Giants team like a team that should be a wild card contender. Not a division contender, and that might not be sexy enough for some people, but you got to be a wild card team.
888-957-9570 is the number. The San Francisco Giants, they won a series. They swept the series against the Rockies, and the young guys really chipped in. The question is, how excited do you get after a sweep of the Colorado Rockies? Obviously, they'd come in, and they'd won 7 in a row, but they're obviously not the Dodgers, and they're not the Padres. So if you're a San Francisco Giants fan, I mean, is this exactly what you wanted? Is this what you wanted? You got 4 youngsters who are going to play what looks like a pivotal role this season in Ramos, Matos, Luciano, and Patrick Bailey when he gets back. Not to mention Kyle Harrison. But then you look at the rotation, and Snell's going to pitch Wednesday in Pittsburgh. Webb's going tomorrow. I'll tell you what, you get Robbie Ray back, and now you might have some action with your pitching staff, Evan. They got some arms there if they can ever get healthy.
Well, and that's why what I'm most excited about in this road trip, yes, Matos has been playing well, and Ramos is hitting well, and the fact that Luciano at age 22 is going to be able to give you something, that's exciting. But what excites me is looking at the pitching staff. It finally is looking like it's going to round into form. And if you can get those guys to produce, I understand the Giants scored a lot of runs this weekend.
Yep.
The second and third time they'd scored 10 or more was on Saturday and Sunday, or Friday and Saturday. Before that, first 45 games, they'd scored only 10 runs. I'm inclined to believe that's more of who they are offensively than the team that lit up a Colorado Rockies pitching staff that is damn near a half run worse than any other pitching staff in baseball.
Yeah.
That's a team you should bludgeon. That is a team you should take 3 games from. And to their credit, they did. But now, okay, what is the strength of this Giants team? What excited me as much as the young guys performing, Steiny.
Yes.
I don't know if this kind of flew under the radar. Giants bullpen gave up 3 runs this weekend. And the Rockies can hit. They can't pitch for crap, but they can hit. And the bullpen had to cover 14 innings over 3 days, and they gave up 3 runs. That, to me, is where you can win a lot of games if you're also being able to put forth some semi-decent offensive days. They only scored 4 runs yesterday.
Right.
They won because of their pitching staff. Jordan Hicks battled through sub-velocity. I don't know if he was under the weather, saying he was
he had
throwing
a gastric
up.
he had a gastric situation in his stomach. His stomach hurt.
You know something about that, or what?
No, he said, I heard him talking about it. It wasn't at full strength. His stomach was bothering him a little bit.
Yeah, the velo was down from 95 to 91, battled through 5. I think that's the strength of their team, is their pitching staff. And they haven't been performing as well as I would have hoped. But now that you're getting guys back, you're getting healthy, and you're already getting contributions. I think their most exciting young player is Kyle Harrison. And I know he doesn't hit. I know he doesn't play every day, but that's a guy I want to watch every 5th day throw. So if you're getting production from him, Webb's already going to give you quality starts pretty much every time out. Jordan Hicks is going to give you 5 solid. If Blake Snell can get his act together, you got 3 or 4 solid starters. That's how you win series. Yes, Matos and Ramos and Luciano are putting barrels to baseball right now, but you need someone to get guys out.
So the one decision I guess the Giants are going to have is if and when Conforto comes back, what do you do with most likely Ramos? Because he's a young player who's going to need at-bats. So do you see him going back down?
I think the reason why Ramos would go down instead of Matos is because Matos plays center field.
Right.
And you no longer have your starting center fielder. He's out for the season. So Jung-Hoo Lee's gone. And I don't know about you, Steiny. The only other guy that I can see someone, playing center field, it's Austin Slater. I don't really want him to play center field.
Doesn't feel like anybody does.
No. And Yastrzemski, Melvin has already talked about primarily staying in right. He might have some days, if there's an off day, he might move over to center, but he's your everyday right fielder. So to me, if I had to choose between which guy is either going to be prioritized, sent down, demoted, essentially, whether from role or down to AAA, I'm leaning Matos. I want to see more of that kid because I think he can go get it in center field. I think he's a raw athlete who's got great contact ability. Now, has some trouble laying off a pitch every once in a while, and I think that might come back to bite him, but he's got pretty damn good bat-to-ball skills, and he's also got some pop. I think he is the most explosive of the three right now. If we're thinking about Ramos, Matos, and Luciano, Luis Matos is the one that injects the most life, the most energy into that lineup for me.
Yeah, to me, he's the most, I don't want to say volatile, but he's the most exciting. I mean, just watching him play center field has been very interesting this last week or so because he didn't look comfortable, a week ago, and now he looks a little bit more comfortable. Obviously, it's a long season, but here's what Bob Melvin said. The young guys are playing, they're helping. So, Bob Melvin, what do you think about these young guys?
Look, anytime these guys, you start out in AAA and you get a chance to come to the big leagues, they're inspired. The energy's there right away. We've seen it from every one of these guys. So that kind of filters into the feeling of the team. And we've been, I don't want to say beat down, but we haven't had a great feeling this year based on our record, not able to really sustain anything. So it's been refreshing to get some guys up here that weren't part of the early part of the season when things weren't going well.
I think it's kind of interesting, Evan, when you think about the Giants' glory days, you think of a veteran-laden group. And remember how we always used to talk about the Giants clubhouse was so professional, never got too high, too low. It sounds to me like right now, this youth group has, according to Bob Melvin, made the clubhouse livelier, put an extra pep in the step of maybe some of the veterans. And the only thing I would say is it was the Colorado Rockies, and you brought this up before the show, and that is sometimes you feel, or if we talk about the Giants like they've arrived after a sweep of the Rockies, it does kind of feel like praising the Warriors after they beat the not the Orlando Magic, the Charlotte Hornets or somebody like that. They're going to have to win. They're going to have to win on the road before I really start believing in this team. And they'll have a chance in the next two series against the Pirates and the Mets. And they've got Webb tomorrow, and they got Snell Wednesday. So, I mean, this is the time to really get their season rolling, I would think.
Well, what makes you feel good is they won games this weekend, but they also did it in front of the home crowd. I mean, there were 35,000 in attendance yesterday, and right now as a team, you're top 10 in attendance. So there are people clearly showing up to see the Giants, and they're 15-10 at home. They've proven that they can win at Oracle Park. Now, I think a big test, not just for the young guys, but for this team, is how you go and play on the road, where you've been outscored by 32 runs over the course of 23 games, where you're coming off a pretty poor road trip. I mean, you just went, what was it, 3-6, 3-7?
Yeah.
So now you gotta prove you can win on the road. But this is a nice first step because to your point, the Charlotte Hornets are a team that doesn't make you say, wow, the Warriors beat them by 20 points. But at the same time, you got to win that game. Like, you have to win those games. So the fact that the Giants swept the Rockies, they also got that Game 3 victory against the Dodgers, which I think gets a bit understated through all this because that was a game you'd like to at least get one of in that series with your ace on the mound. Now the Giants can begin to build something. But I think that's why it makes this road trip very interesting to keep track of. And I know some games are going to be during the day and it's at weird times, so we're going to be on top of it as much as we can. But I'm really looking forward to locking in on this series because I think that there are two teams in the Pirates and the Mets that have interesting challenges that can be posed for the Giants. The Rockies are a team you should score 30 runs against over 3 days.
Right.
That's a team that you should beat more often than not. I know they'd won 6 in a row. The A's won 7 games last year, I believe, in a row. They won 50 games. They were the worst team in baseball by far. So even bad teams can get hot. But if you're the Giants, you got to put them in their place. And to their credit, they did that.
Yeah, and we'll see if they can do it against the Pirates team that's not great and a Mets team that's hovering around 500. That series starts tomorrow in Pittsburgh. And then, I guess, Thursday, the Giants see Paul Skeens.
Yeah.
Who is the
Have you had a chance to watch him
phenom.
pitch at all, Steiny?
Oh, I saw him at LSU.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I saw him pitch a lot at LSU. He's got that four-seamer. He's got that four-seamer that just is perplexing.
Well, his last
Perplexing.
start, he struck out 7 straight. Start the game.
I mean, is that the game where he didn't give up a hit?
Hmm?
And he left after 6 innings.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Giants will get a first-hand look at him. 888-957-9570 is the number. We got some young guys playing for the San Francisco Giants. It does feel like we've waited a couple years for this. And now that it's here, I guess Giants fans probably want it to stay right here, which is kind of living and dying with the young guys. But I agree, and I don't want to paint this in a negative light, but the offseason moves that they made clearly indicated that they were thinking postseason by winning the wild card or by getting a wild card or possibly winning the division. And now you look at this team and they've got, they are a little like the Warriors. They've got veterans and they've got young players and they've got a team that's trying to figure out how much to play of both of those groups. And I think a lot of it, Evan's going to be decided by, how well the team plays, let's say, in the next 3 or 4 weeks before the trade deadline. Can they get something going with this group? And if they can, then what are they going to do around the trade deadline?
Well, there was urgency around this offseason. There was a lack of urgency at the beginning of the regular season, in my opinion. That urgency appears to be coming back. And that's where I do think the kids or the younger players are valuable. Because you heard Bob Melvin talk about the energy in the clubhouse. That, to me, is urgency. Those kids are fighting for jobs. And if you're not careful, if you're Conforto, actually, well, not Conforto necessarily, but if you're Slater, if you're looking around the rest of that outfield at guys that have not been producing, there's spots up for grabs, and those kids are going to take your spot. Nick Ahmed's on the shelf. Okay, Casey Schmidt, Marco Luciano. Who's going to get that starting spot until Ahmed comes back? And maybe even if Ahmed is back, that's a guy that is probably not supposed to be your everyday shortstop for 162. So that spot's open as well. Giants are having tryouts right now, and these kids are putting their names in the hat and saying, that's going to be my future spot, whether it's now, whether it's in 2 months, whether it's in 2 years, or whether it's by the end of this season. Matos wants that center field job. Ramos wants one of those corner spots. Luciano wants to be in the middle infield. These kids are saying, this is my job. And it's also helping the Giants win games. So I think the fact that you're having that friendly competition is good for the team. And so far, through a weekend, and again, over the last 8 games, it's helped you take 6 of them and get you back to a place where you need to be, which is, I know we're not looking at the standings yet, but you are a game out of the wild card.
Well, then you are looking at the standings.
Yeah, you're right.
So you're like Goo. You're like Goo, even though the season's only a quarter over. We got,
I think me and Goo look
we're
at the
knocking-
standings for different reasons.
Sports, man.
Number one, I don't like to worry as much as Goo does. And I felt like there was a lot of panic around this station in general last week with the Giants, especially coming off that Dodgers series. There was a lot of panic. Mark Willard was apologizing to the fans for the last 6 years. People were talking about firing this guy, letting this guy go. I look up at the end of the weekend, Steiny. Quietly, they're not doing too bad.
No,
Yay!
they're not. They've won 4 in a row, and they've looked good since Willard buried them on Monday.
I'm scared of Willard.
888-957-9570 is the number. On the other side, we'll get into some NBA playoffs and look at these teams that are still remaining through the prism of the Golden State Warriors and where the Warriors might be in terms of the Western Conference pecking order and whether or not they can make something happen in a year or two and get back with the elite teams. 888-957-9570. That segment was brought to you by Pacific Coast.